10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Drag racing fans, what is up? This is the beginning of another Power Hour, a jam-packed show we got here for you tonight. We're kicking those tires off, like you said, Joe. We're doing our burnouts, we're going through, and now we're about to back it up. I am Slammin Sam from Mabro Motorsports and Outlaw Performance ENT, and I've got my co-host. He's not sitting in the back seat in the two-seater dragsters. He's in the next lane with me. That is the Monday Morning Racer. Lee, how is it going today?
Woo! As Lou Santiago would say, I'm the Ginger Ric Flair, and I'm ready to style and profile on the Power Hour night. Sam, man, look, there's a lot to talk about in drag racing, no matter what time it is. What we're going to do chatting on tonight. And, folks, we want you to chat along with us there in the comment section. Dale, good evening. Sam, what are we talking about?
Well, first things first, it sucks leaving a year in 2020, bad year that we had, and then starting one out. So my heart and my prayers go out to Sonny and his, family and team and friends and loved ones that were close to him. So that is a heartbreaker, definitely in the drag racing community. It's to lose one of the legends, one of the greats in our community, someone that would give their shirts, off their back to help someone out, someone that was continuing to grow in the sport. So definitely something that, hit the drag racing community in a weak spot as we are right now. What about you, Lee? What's some of the things that you may have?
Man, I have to agree with you. Definitely sad to hear the passing of Sonny Leonard, but I am far gladder. It's a good thing to hear that the way in which he was handling his business, that apparently that engine program, that family's involvement, it's going to continue. And we're going to still see the Leonard name out there powering drag cars and beyond. What an impact he had, such a versatile engine builder. You would find his program up and down the ladder in drag racing. Oftentimes you will find individuals, they have their niche in one particular class. But Sonny, you could find him in just about any class whatsoever. So definitely he made his mark in drag racing. My condolences, thoughts, and prayers to that family. And also to those individuals who maybe their confidence could be shaken in their program with his passing. Look, give them some time, let them get things settled, and stick with your bullet and your gunsmith, as it were. Stick with them and help them out. Man, look, in drag racing right now, there's a lot of racing about to kick off in Florida, not just in drag racing, but the Rolex 24. We already had the karting at Daytona International Raceway. You have a lot of racing that happens in Florida early on in the year, late in the year. What do you think of Florida as a state for racing, and why do you think that so much has gravitated towards Florida, even for drag racing, when it seemed like at one time the hot spot was, Southern California for very similar weather conditions?
I think Florida, it's a tourist destination for a lack of better words. A lot of people are going to be there. A lot of people want to go to Florida, especially during the winter. A guy like me, granted, this year in North Dakota, we haven't had such a bad winter. It seems like everyone in Texas and everything else like that is getting a lot more snow than we are. I mean, we were almost 40 degrees today, so we truly appreciate that. But going down to Florida, it's nice. And like you said, it's heavy. And, it seems like a lot of the snowbirds, as we call them, they leave Arizona and they head up to Florida. And then after that, they come back home. So, you kick it off in March with the Door Slammers, Drag Illustrated, Wes Buck, and the gang that he has got. C-Tech Manufacturer is a big one there. Jegs is on board with them. Elite Motorsports. So that's March 5th, 6th, and 7th down at the house that Ozzy Moya has built, Orlando Speed World. And then you go down to April, Darlington. You've got that April 15th through the 17th. with Keith Berry. So I think, like you said, there's a lot of racing that we're going to start seeing. And in between that, you definitely have the Gator Nationals. So for me, I love it. Anywhere that's going to be warm during this time of the year, yeah, I mean, I absolutely love everything about it. So why not move down to Florida and enjoy the nice sun rays that a lot of us don't get to see for 6 months out of the year?
Right. Florida has become an epicenter for racing and entertainment in general. And when you go to a race, oftentimes you can go and entertain yourself between races. You know, a lot of the racers, they'll go down there and they'll just take 3 weeks, go from race to race to race. And while they're there, get Disney World, in, and all the other aspects that, well, you know, Florida does provide. So it definitely is a great place to race, but you don't become a great place to race without great facilities. And you've got some good facilities down there. Bradenton, Florida, Orlando, Speed World. You've got some great tracks that are known to hold numbers. You got Palm Beach down there that may very well hold nitro testing this year. The Gator Nationals, Gainesville Raceway. You have historic racetracks, tracks that can hold a number. They're known as quality facilities. So it's a place to go test. It's a place to go race. And definitely looking forward to what's going to be happening down there from door slammers to nitro. They're going to be having it all kick off the drag racing season. And I dare say I wouldn't mind Gainesville kicking off the season for NHRA, period, possibly. That's my thoughts.
And you know, not to cut you off there, but I think it's going to be a weird year. I shouldn't say weird. I think it's going to be a different experience going to Gainesville as of last year. You know, everyone was excited leaving the door slammers. I know when you and I spoke before we, you know, left the door slammers, it was like, yep, you're headed to the Gator Nationals. I was supposed to come back home and then maybe go up there. So I think it was kind of cool to see people excited to go. And then what happened with, you know, the pandemic and everything. But now this year, the talk of people saying, hey, I want to be at that race. Hey, I want to leave, you know, the door slammer race and go to the Gator National. So I think this year it's going to mean a little bit more to people that missed out of that last year, if that makes sense to you, Lee.
It does. It does. Hey, I want to mention something that Seth Cooper in the comments, he's been mentioning. He mentions one of our guests later on the night, Antron. Yes, Antron Brown. We'll have him on the show later. He says Antron should be at the Chili Bowl showing them how to wheel like Proc. So Austin Proc, he's there right now. He's wheeling in the Chili Bowl with the Montana brands, micro and midget. And what a great race the Tulsa Shootout, the Chili Bowl Nationals are there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I have to agree with what Seth says later on. I wish more people knew about drag racers and their ability to drive, like what Cruz has done on dirt, what Caps has done on dirt. I dare say the wildness of Gary Selzy on dirt, Austin Proc on dirt, Antron, he will drive anything. Matter of fact, a buddy of mine here in North Carolina, Antron has even said he wouldn't mind getting in a modified at the Bowman Gray Madhouse here in Central North Carolina. I would love to see that. Look, drag racers can drive.
Yes, he did do some Formula One stuff. I'm pretty sure it was Formula One in the iRacing scene or whatever, one of the racing scenes during the off season. If you follow any of his social medias, but we'll definitely dive into that a little bit later. But he did do some racing like that. And Lee, I got to see your expression here right now when we're talking about this, because there may be a chance to see yours truly, the Slammin' Sam, in a wingless sprint car in the IMCA circuit here this year. Been talking to a local buddy, a friend of mine who kind of wants to sponsor me to get into a circle track car. And I've kind of told him, I don't know. And there's been talk of it. So I'm going to release it here. I'm not keeping any secrets on the Competition Plus Power Hour. So you might see me in a wingless sprint car here this summer, which I don't know how that's going to go.
Well, man, I will say this: wear a mouth guard and be prepared to flip. I just want to share that with you, and I recommend for you to have all the protection possible.
That's not
Look,
even cool.
It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when.
It's a matter of when.
So it's a matter of when. So just be prepared. Just be prepared. Look, there's a lot of good racing going on right now. A lot of good racing we're looking forward to. But, man, I know more than likely, along with me, you're most looking forward to the Drag Illustrated C-Tech Manufacturing World Door Slammer Nationals. I plan to be there. You plan to be there. I was there last year. They've added to the card. It looks like it's going to be an even better event. And what a wicked logo they've got this year. It's got that Major League Baseball, NBA, but brought to drag racing look for door slammers. I love it.
I love everything about it, right? You see it. It's unique. It's different. And this is something that we talked about last week when we talked about the social media networking and getting out there and, promoting yourself and doing different things. I think that logo stands out. So nothing against anyone at NHRA, but why don't we try something new? Like that red, white, and blue thing, it's kind of a uniting thing, especially with everything that's going on in the world. But I really like how they kind of changed directions and did something that was, like you said, like the NBA, like NFL, and different things like that. Yeah, it could be piggybacking off of them, but it's still catchy. It's something. So why don't we try something to branch out? Maybe that brings a different sponsor that didn't really look at the logo the same way we did. So who knows? I mean, I really do like that idea. And when we're talking about this race, we have to talk about the Pro Mod class. And it's something that you and I have definitely talked about also. I am sick of seeing all these Camaros. I'm just, can we see something new? I know there's speculations of one person bringing out a Mustang, and I like that. But how do we change this up just a little bit?
Well, let's for one, let me throttle you back just a little bit, because I agree. There are way too many Camaros. Whether it's a 69 Camaro or whether it is a late model Camaro, there to me are way too many Camaros. But here's one of the problems, is there just has been a shift in GM thinking and those associated with GM. You just don't have the multiple brands that you used to have. Like, for example, look at Pro Stock in the 80s. Everybody today says, oh, Pro Stock doesn't have enough representation of other classes, other cars, other manufacturers. I agree to that to a point, but oftentimes what they're failing to realize is, like after 1986, 87, I mean, Bob Glidden was the only Ford in NHRA most of the time for most weekends, and you had two Dodge guys, and the rest of the field was a mixture of all GM cars. But you had Buick, you had Oldsmobile, you had Chevrolet, you had Pontiac. Now it's just Chevrolet. Look, Pro Mod is a place where we ought to be able to see those different brands, those different badges. They've got to do something, whether it's weight brakes for cars that are of a classic appearance. There is rumors, there's pictures, they're not just rumors, but of one team, Robert Gallegos. I'm not really familiar with him, but he's got a 41 Willis coming out, wicked looking. It's been stretched and streamlined, got this great wing on it. Looks like something off a hydro boat, but on a 41 Willis Pro Mod, and he's prepared to go out and drag race it and even work it into the NHRA ranks. So I hope there's a turnaround and more individuals are going to start bringing out different body styles. Look, when I growing up, going to Super Chevy Show, watching Pro Mod at Atlanta Dragway, loved the Studebakers, loved the shoeboxes, loved those different body styles. And slowly you've seen them go away because of, everybody wants to be competitive. Everybody wants to be the fastest. I get it. Well, let's make it some way, somehow, where guys can be competitive, and yet you have diversity within the show, within the field. Nothing wrong with the diversity.
Well, and you mentioned there another car coming in, just like Dwayne Mills, right? Dwayne Mills is bringing in the golden. I just lost the name of it, but the Golden Gorilla. My bad. He's bringing in that car, screw blown car. So I mean, there's more potential. There's more cars coming in, but everything looks exactly the same. Everything is kind of going mainstream, and there's nothing against it. I get it. I'm just a Ford guy, so I got to start the argument, right? And with Alex potentially I don't want to say if he's going to have it out this year or not, but with Alex thinking about bringing out a Mustang, I think it just shakes it up a little bit. You can bring back that Ford versus Chevy rivalry, so it's things that I'm holding on to, for lack of a better terms, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, and they're all running Hemis anyway. Now, later on in the show, we got Roger Richards, the photographer for Competition Plus. I'm looking forward to having Roger on. I know he's got to have some great stories and want to get his insights so many years out there. Later on, folks, we got Antron Brown. Right, yeah, we'll probably have an issue. Also, we got Antron Brown coming on to the show later on tonight, but we're going to bring in right now our pit insider after this break, Jeff Aren. Looking forward to what he's going to be laying down tonight, the knowledge, the juicy, good, deep stuff on us from inside the pits right after this word on Competition Plus apparel.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Mr. Aren, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How about you guys?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm here talking drag racing. Can't get no better.
Yeah, I've been listening to you guys. So the whole Camaro Mustang thing,
Hey, I've got no more emails for you. I don't know what's going on with these people, but you guys need to email. So Jeff has something to talk about at powerhourcp@gmail.com. Take it away,
definitely.
Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. So, a few things going on. Obviously when Tony Stewart was first driving Frank Hawley's car, I really couldn't say much because he wanted to kind of release that deal himself. But Tony's back at it again. So the last 2 days he's been driving the top drag store at Frank Hawley's, getting some more seat time. So that's a good thing. Tony seems to be a great guy. And kind of a little funny story I won't talk about too much, but I knew he was out there, obviously. So I texted Frank and I said, hey, if he's looking for anybody to work for him, like I'm there, and better still, we just have a 2-car team. I'll drive the funny car and Aaron Brooks can tune it. And we'll have like 2 guys having jobs that don't have them right now. And he was laughing. He goes, yeah, I'll tell him. And I thought I'm never going to hear anything back from that again. And about 10 minutes later, Frank sends me a text and I open it up and there's Tony Stewart in a video. And let me just tell you something. If anybody thinks he's not going to fit in with the NHRA crowd, they're wrong, because the video he sent me was just hilarious. So that's going to be a good deal. And I hope he does something. I don't have any inside information if he's going to have like a top fuel team or whatever, but it's good to see him doing something in the sport. On another note, JFR guys have been, the crew guys have basically been out of work for a long time now. And DSR guys, I think since around Christmas time, were kind of furloughed as well. And, it's pretty tough to find really good crew guys out there. And I know some of the people from JFR have moved on to different teams, and some of them just got different jobs. And I'm sure the spouses are happy they're home and they're not traveling all the time. And I'm probably sure they're happy they're not working 80-hour weeks. And I think it's going to be a real tough deal for some of these teams to come up with good crew people to work on their cars. It's not an easy job. And people have asked me before, hey, how do I get on a team? And probably the biggest thing, if you want to get on a team, like the mechanical expertise isn't much because they're going to teach you that. The CDL is a big deal. So if you got a CDL, you want to work on a team, I think right now is going to be a pretty ripe opportunity to get on something for sure. And last but not least, it's very sad to see that Sonny Leonard passed away. I didn't know him really, really well, but I'd spoke to him before. But I know he was a great innovator, master engine builder, obviously. Tons of people loved him, and it's sorry to see him go. And unfortunately, as we get older, more and more people pass away. But Sonny was really one of the good guys.
Awesome, Jeff. Stellar. Great information. Some good stuff from me and Sam here to chat on before we bring Roger Richards, as he's got it typed into his name later on. We'll be bringing him in. I got to ask, the pro mod world, they're talking about weight breaks, and some bodies are already doing weight breaks for the older bodies. Is there anything like that in the nostalgia world, like for particular type of bodies, they're giving guys some breaks?
Yeah, that's a great question because, obviously you look at Pro Stock now, it's all Camaros. And, the Pro Mod stuff, I kind of grew up and I was worked for Al Billis back in the day. And you'd see Ford Fairmont, Willys, you'd see everything out there. It was really kind of fun to watch. And, Scotty Cannon was a big innovator. But in the nostalgia deal, so here's what it is. If you own a team and you're going to buy a body, are you dumb not to buy the body that it's kind of been proven to be 4 or 5 miles an hour faster, like the swoopy Camaro? I don't know. I guess you're kind of dumb if you don't buy one. But to me, you want to see the cars look like the old school deals. And I'd like to see them do some kind of a weight break. I don't know if the weight break's possible because those cars are not that hard to make weight. Cubic inch isn't really there because guys run anything from a factory 426 all the way up to 500-inch stuff. So, but I would definitely like to see a lot more different cars there because that's really what creates excitement. You want to see the old school cars, but if you're going to go do the race, you kind of want to win. And why you're not going to buy the swoopy Camaro deal? In hindsight, I kind of wish the NHRA hadn't approved that body, but that genie's out of the bottle already. So I don't know really what the answer is, but some kind of a break or some kind of a deal to make the other cars competitive so they don't look like cookie cutter deals.
Right. Yes. That cat is definitely out of the bag, and it's a big, fat, mean one. And I don't know when it's going to be brought back in anytime soon, but I think it needs to be brought back in. But yes, it's out. It is definitely out. But man, hopefully one day across the board, we'll see some OEM recognition to a greater degree. Personally.
Yep. Totally agree with you.
Jeff, if you got anything for the people, for the comments, I mean, what can we tell them so they can start emailing you? Like, I put it out there every week for you. I don't know what else to do.
I know. I mean, you've been really working hard on it. So, I mean, it's funny because when I go to the races, whether I'm driving or working on a car, it's nonstop. People are asking you questions like, what does that tire and wheel weigh? How long does the slicks last? How much do they cost? How much boost does it make? So, if people are interested in that and they want to know, definitely write it, send an email into us. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find it out for you. But there's a lot of people that I've seen at the track that are very curious. And, a lot of times I sit in the stands and I'm watching the racing and the people in front of you you're talking about the racing and they're just totally off what really is happening. So if people do have questions and they want to know something, inside information, whatever, feel free to email in. I'd be more than happy to answer it for you.
Well, Jeff, we've got one last question for you before we let you go. Quarter Mile Bandit from YouTube asks, will Jeff Aren be in competition again? And I really think, I imagine you would have been in competition this year if it wasn't for COVID, but the Russos couldn't get over here. So there you go.
Yeah, that was kind of the big deal. So, not that I've only ever driven their car, but the Russos are always good for 3, 4, 5 national events a year, and it's really fun to work with them because they're really cool people. And while the expectations aren't as high, just qualifying for them is kind of like winning a few rounds or a national event. So it's very rewarding as a driver, and I help tune it to have that happen. And then I was driving that California Hustler car for quite a while, the nostalgia deal, and we did well and won some races with it. But now that deal's gone, so I hope something comes back up again. I really enjoy to be out there, whether it be the nostalgia deal or the big show deal. But, racing's a lot of fun. You make some great friends from it and great memories. And I hope it's not over it.
All right, Jeff, look, man, thank you for your time on the stream. We appreciate it. And you have yourself a good rest of the evening and enjoy whatever beverage and choice of smoke tonight.
Sounds great. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sponsored by Coors Light tonight.
Yeah, sponsored by Coors Light. There we go. Sponsored by. We finally got a sponsor. By the way, if you're out there and you would want to, you would desire to be a part of this calamity that we call the Competition Power Hour, get a hold of Bobby Bennett. He'll be glad to set something up for you, and we can promote you here on the show. Folks, we do got Roger Richards in the studio. We also have Antron Brown in the studio. We'll be bringing them on here in just a few moments. Sam, before we get to them, though, I do want to talk a little bit about that Tony Stewart implications in drag racing. I do. All right.
I think it's huge.
I think it's huge, but I want to put a spin on it. So Tony Stewart is a champion in IndyCar racing. Tony Stewart is a champion in NASCAR. Actually, at one time in NASCAR, many would say that he was the best driver other than Dale Earnhardt. They did share the track for many years. As far as his natural ability, he's won in sprint cars. He's won in everything he's been in. Let me say this, though. I hope that he does come in the sport. I hope that he brings, even as Jeff Aren alluded to, another car and is able to field something else in another class. But I hope he struggles a little bit, because drag racers do not get enough credit for their driving abilities. I feel like they've got to scratch and claw, go prove it on dirt, go prove it somewhere else. Oh, you just drive in a straight line. No, they don't. I think Tony needs to struggle a little bit before he has the sweet taste of victory. And that right there, I think, will be helpful for drag racing.
I agree 100% with you, but we can't always agree. So I'm going to disagree with you here too. I think he will. And I think that's why he's doing so much testing now, is to try and get some of those jitters, some of those minute things, I should say, that he had acquired in, circle track racing, in all these other forms of racing. I think he may have bad habits or different habits that he was taught and learned. So I think he's trying to break those now, because he's going to mentally, try and erase what he was taught then and learn it now. If you watch the video from everything with him going through the school and everything, you kind of saw that he was mentally just trying to grasp everything. So I think he will struggle, simply be on the fact of when he is paired up with someone. That is a true test. You can go out and make a million runs down a track. You can go out and do whatever you want, sit in the simulator all day. When you have that person strapped in, lined up next to you, and it is go time, that's going to be the determining factor. And I think it may be a weekend. I think you may see him, maybe miss qualifying by just a little bit, and then the next weekend he may qualify. But I think it may be only a couple of races. It's going to be short-lived, because he is a natural when it comes to willing anything. So that's my opinion. I agree. I would like to see him just for that, simple fact of, like you said, oh, you're just going in a straight line. But I think depending on what happens once he gets strapped in and there's people there, everything else like that. It's just like strapping in for your first Friday night football game, right? You can practice all you want until that receiver blows by you, and then you're like, oh, crap. This is a real deal. And I do like what John is saying there too. It depends on his crew. I mean, that's huge, but it is a mental thing too. And maybe that's something that we can ask Antron here later. What is it? What's that, game day feel like?
Right. And I agree with what Terry Sutton has said in the comments. We need Tony in our series. It's going to bring a lot of exposure. But I think it's going to help professional drag racing the most if there is a learning curve. If he goes out there and wins his first race, I think overall that does not help drag racing, at least NHRA Nitro drag racing, because this will be the first time we've seen someone make a shift like this, from my understanding of Nitro, even though Kurt Busch did hop in a Pro Stocker, that, since John Andretti drove many, many, many years ago in a Top Fuel dragster. So looking forward to Tony coming into the sport, but nonetheless, I think for the health of the sport, not Tony as an individual, because he will get it. He will win. I don't doubt that. I think he needs to struggle just a bit coming in.
Seth's comment here, pull that up, because it's a two-part thing, Seth. And then we can bring in our first guest. But I get what you're saying, Seth, that you want to take the drag racers to another sport. I get that. And that does great things. It says, hey, yes, these people do not just drive in a straight line. They can will, different things. But if Tony comes over and you're saying he won't struggle, and I can't fully wrap my head around that. I don't agree with that 100%. I think if anything else, I think whoever his crew chief is, and this isn't talking negatively about them, whoever his crew chief is, there is going to be a struggle period. Even if he goes out and blows the doors off of everyone the first race, you haven't seen anyone really that can sustain that over and over and over and over and over and over. So at some point he will struggle, and it would be the true test to, like you said, his driving abilities and everything else like that. But I think, like I said, I give it 3 weekends, and then we see Tony, up there, because he's a damn good driver. Let's just be honest. Excuse my French, but it is what it is. The guy can wheel a car, and he's not afraid to do it. He's kind of like Lee in motorcycles. I mean, hey, you never know.
Hey, with Mike Ashley's money, I've got no fear. I can tell you that right now. If Mike puts it up, I'll hop on that thing. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. And I'm holding Mike to it.
I love it.
When I see him at the Gator Nationals, Mike, where's the check? Where's the check? I want to do this thing. Let's go down to the Nitro Harley guys and talk to them. Let's wrap up before we go to Roger with this word from Joe Colt Jr. If a personality is what NHRA needs, Smoke is the man. Let me say this. If there's anyone in motorsports that's willing to get out of a car and tell you exactly like it is, that is Tony Stewart. He has proven that over and over again. So he will give an honest estimation, definitely.
Will Amanda Busey have to pull the mic away from him before he says something that he's not supposed to? But
hey, that's interesting.
But also, that's a great point that he makes there, is simply because we need that. He is someone that is, I think, once he gets in, he's going to help promote drag racing. He's going to bring a different vibe, a different attitude, and a different swag that will help just simply promote drag racing because of who he is. So whether he struggles, whether he does great, it's a positive. It's a positive. It's not a cancer in the locker room. It's a 100% growth to bringing different eyes to our sport.
Definitely is. I'm going to have to text Amanda Busick, though, and ask her, hey, have you watched old Tony Stewart interviews, and have you got prepared just in case in 2021? I'll have to ask her that.
Like watching old Mike Tyson interview. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. Hey, maybe we should just bring Amanda on, the next show, and we should just talk to her about it. Why not?
That's right. That's right. She does need to get on the Competition Plus Power Hour. She definitely does. She definitely does. Well, folks, speaking of someone on the show, we need to get Roger Richards on the show.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's do that right now, right after the break. The man, the myth, the legend, the geezer tour, Roger Richards. We'll be talking with him after this word from Jerry Bickle Race Cars.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.
Roger, can you hear?
Well, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Roger. Great.
All right, great.
Hey, when I grow up, I want to have a beard like that when I grow up.
Well, you got to get 80 years old first. Now, you got to get about 7 decades worth of age on you before you can do this and pull it off.
Pull it off, he says. Like it. So, Roger, you've been working with Competition Plus here for a while now, and we've seen your work. If you've seen anything with racing, you've seen your work. So, just kind of tell us your background, your history, and how do you capture those beautiful moments?
Just pure luck. I started out as a photographer doing weddings and portraits. I've done over 3,000 weddings. Then I around the turn of the century, I went to my first drag race. Bobby Bennett had his son wanted to come to the studio to get a picture in his fire suit. And I said, what the heck is a fire suit? I had no idea what a fire suit was. That was in 99. He came to my studio. We took the pictures and he invited me to come to Greer Dragway, take pictures of his son in the junior dragster. So I went to the Greer Dragway, which was only 5 miles from my house at that time, and spent the day with him and produced a video in addition to the pictures. And I gave them about a 30-minute professional video for his son to take to schools. This is what I did during the summer. And he was in junior dragster. And then Bobby invited me to go to Rockingham for the Fall Nationals in 1999. And that was the first big drag race I went to. And I was in the pits, and they cranked up the top fuel dragster and whomped. That's back when they used to whomp the motors. Scott Palmer's the only one that does that now, thankfully. And being an Army veteran, when they hit that accelerator, I said, where do you want the foxhole? Because I was getting ready to dig one. And so that was my introduction in the Fall Nationals IHRA in Rockingham in 1999. That's the first race that I went to. And I kind of set the hook, and I transitioned from my weddings and kind of went away with that. Transitioned from my weddings and portraits, and closed down my studio and transitioned into drag racing. And it's a heck of a way for someone to spend retirement doing something you love and getting to travel, honestly, all over the world doing what you love.
It is. It is. You're definitely a inspiration to some of us younger cats. You're out there doing it and doing it at the highest level and getting it done, producing some great photos. Talk to me, man. Look, you know, I've got this persona myself, and you do too. You got your glasses, you got your cap, you got your beard. It's even your logo on the Geezer Tour. You can follow this guy on Facebook, Geezer Tour. So talk to me about crafting the matured, fine look that you've got, sir.
Again, we're talking dumb luck. The name Geezer, when the internet first came about, AOL was the thing, and they wouldn't let you have your name. They had made you take a nickname. And my daughter told me, she says, you're too old for this internet stuff, so you should just use Geezer as your nickname. And that's what I did. And so I became Geezer when I was in my 40s. I've always had a beard or a mustache since 1976, when we had the bicentennial of the United States. And I grew a beard for that. And then I left the mustache on there. And then I had my son in 1977, and then about 1980, I decided to shave my beard and mustache, and went in the room, and he screamed and started crying, and where's my daddy? So I had to grow it back, and I've had a beard or a mustache, but it was a lot different color at that point in time. It turned white over age, I guess. I grew into that. And then when I got into racing, I needed to have a hat on so I wouldn't get my bald head burnt. And so I picked this golfing type hat, and I always wear it backwards, because when I have my camera, there's a flash on it, and I try to pick it up, it knocks the bill of the hat back. So I turned around, started wearing it backwards long before Tiger Woods ever did it and made famous. He doesn't give me any money for the idea of wearing his hat backwards. I need to talk to him about that, I guess. But again, that's just dumb luck. I just over about 4 or 5 years, it went to the mustache like this and the hat like this, and then that's what everybody just started recognizing me as, and that's just the way it is.
See, that explains why I wear my hat just like this, Lee. Like I try to fit in. Last week I wore the glasses. This week I'm wearing it back. I want to, like I said, I'm gonna just for men. When I go to the Door Slammer Nationals, I'll be representing the younger geezer. I'm gonna, get the beard
geezer
going.
in training. Geezer in training.
I'm gonna get a shirt. I'm gonna get a shirt that says that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I got to ask, Roger, we've worked together down in Orlando and different things like that. And you have the premier setup. Once you get to the track, you're there. You don't need anything else. You have the van, you have pretty much your home studio rolls around with you. So what is that like, being pretty much on tour during the whole drag racing season?
It's a heck of a thing. It's a great thing. I pull into the pit and find a place to park. Most of the time they have a place for me, and which is kind of flattering. And people tend to bend over backwards to help me be there. And it's again, like I say, it's flattering. But once I get there, I've got foodstuffs, I've got drinks, generators, and I don't leave. I don't leave the track. If we go somewhere to eat, I have to bum a ride because I'm not breaking down my van to go somewhere. But it's a great thing. I just and people always dropping by, come sitting on my doorstep. It's a great deal. I meet a heck of a lot of great people, including y'all too.
That's right. That's right. And, hey, and being able to, see you, I mean, I know people obviously think, we talk a lot of NHRA here, but you don't just cover NHRA. I mean, it's PDRA, it's Southeast Gassers, it's, the big Door Slammer shows. It's really just about everything. What do you enjoy the most, honestly? Which series do you look forward to the most?
I guess right now, I am a big Southeast Gasser fan. It all happens in one day. Now I'll show up a couple of times a year on Friday night. They do some testing, and but mostly it starts about noon on Saturday, and it's finished by 9 or 10 o'clock, and it's just nonstop. They start the 2 rounds of testing. They got 4 clashes. By the time the first class is finished, the second class is in the water box. Same thing with third class and fourth class and the exhibition cars. And then immediately into elimination. The only dead time is between the semifinals and the finals when they got to allow the 8 cars left to cool down and get back in it. But it's just nonstop. Great people. It's just a fun family get together, and with just great people and great cars. The only thing you see is a win light. You don't see a number or anything. It's the first one to the finish line wins the race, and it's just a great deal.
Definitely is. A lot of fun at the Southeast Gasser Association. Well, folks, look, we're going to bring on, along with Roger Richards, Antron Brown next, right after this word from Guard Lab.
AB,
What is happening, Sam?
What's going on?
Brother, I'm just here in Indy in the cold weather, brother, trying to stay in shape. I'm even getting that hair in. I'm trying to get like Roger.
You're gonna have to adjust for men that.
Nah, man. This is distinguished, baby. It's distinguished.
I'm good. We're good right here.
That's it, man. Roger, you gotta get a little shine on that, man. Obviously, you ain't putting no moisturizer up on that dome, man. What's going on?
Hey, I'm gonna keep the hair as long as I possibly can. So you guys can take that.
I'm pretty sure Antron can still grow something up here. Yours is by choice.
Oh, I can. It is. It's still all here, but it's just gray on the sides when I let it come in, man. And what I do is when I go to the racing, I just cut it all off so I can keep that look, man. People come up to me and say, you look like you're 28 years old. I still got it like that.
You don't know gray.
Roger, that's like a coloring book. You could just color that in. Just color it all in.
Right. Because Roger, you might be past gray. It might just be white. I mean, let's be honest, man. It might just be white at this point.
Lee, you got to give him some of that color, man.
I do.
Bright, vibrant color, man. You see that? You need to give Roger some of that.
So, Antron, with having Roger on, you've been bumping elbows with him for a while. You got a good, Roger story from out there in the NHRA pit world?
Brother, all I can tell you is that Roger is just a straight, facet of NHRA drag racing. Every time I turn my shoulder, I could be in the pit getting suited up, trying to get in my car, turn over. Roger's there. I could be all the way over there. I could be walking out the portlet, turn around. Roger's there. You know what I mean? So Roger's always been out there, and he's always been in the key moments, getting the right photos at the right time, and catching you doing things that you don't want people to see. But he does it. But Roger's always just been there, and he's like a breath of fresh air, and he's always just there supporting our sport like no other. And when I think of NHRA, I always think about Roger, man. Roger Richards. I mean, and the funniest part, when I'm always driving into the racetrack, coming through the main gate, going across the staging lanes to get to the other side, you know who's got the premium location? Roger. And you see his van with the Competition Plus on side, and you'll see him come out the back door, stretch up, look out, taking that breath of fresh air. Only Roger gets that access. And I'm like, look at him, man. He's like the king of Siam out this joint.
Definitely so. I still feel like I got to, duck and weave between all the trailers and hide out. And Roger's over there with his own personal spot.
Bro, he's like you know how you roll up and you go to a Hampton Inn, it's got the diamond member. Roger is the diamond member at NHRA. And Roger, I don't know what you got. I know what you got. You got some photos, don't you? You got photos of somebody in NHRA. I know you do.
I need to talk to you, Antron. I've got a couple. I got to show you. I need some dollars.
I know you do. Trust me.
Yeah, I've got them set back over to the side. One day I'm just going to say, "Look here, bud," and that'd be it.
I know. You saving that for retirement, aren't you? I know what you're doing. I can tell what you're doing. We're going to turn that black hat into a Kango hat, aren't we? That's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
I tell you, it's an honor. It's an honor to share this piece of the screen here with Antron, one of my heroes.
Oh, man, we're all family, brother.
He used to run on the two wheels and jumped in that big long car and immediately was the winner. That always impressed me. It's hard to do.
Well, brother, the thing about it is you got to have the will, man. I had a lot of mental reps before I got in them long cars. And I grew up racing motorcycles, two wheels. That was my thing, and I grew up, that was like people walking every day like me riding a motorcycle. So I love them. I still do. And but when I grew up around this sport, the top fuel and funny cars were the Cat's Meow. Those were the most accelerating, most like energetic vehicles. They're to reach out and touch your vehicles. You get what I mean? And I never thought that I will make it and go and get into a fuel car. So with that being said, is like I literally always told myself, I go, man, if I can ever just get a chance to ride one. I used to just watch them from afar. I used to go up and watch all the guys do it and do what they do. And I used to watch them get in the car, watch them do the burnout, watch when they back up. And when they're doing it, I'll just go through all the hand motions. And when I got in one, it felt like I've been doing it for years, but I didn't have to learn how to race that joker. What made it hard is getting used to how to manipulate and understand what was going on so you can correct it. Like racing, I had the racing mindset for racing bikes for 10 years. Staging the car, the staging games, the mindset, being focused, had it. But when those things do something that's not right, to be able to bounce back and correct it, that's what took me a long time to handle. Everybody was just watching my racing capabilities, but they weren't watching it from behind when they saw that car doing this. I was like, oh, Lord, help me. I'm like, how do you keep it here? Then you learn how to like float it, learn how to aim it, and then guide it. It wasn't like, when you start to see drivers doing this, that means they're behind the race car. And it took me a little bit until my second and a half to the third year where I start getting that knack down to perfection where I'm able to guide it and make the car look like it's on a string. That is a unique talent like Tony has, Larry Dixon has. And people of that nature that has made that craft for all those years, it takes time to develop that. But they're drivers, and then they're great racers, but very seldom do you see it all in one package. And that's the ones that win championships with great teams. You have to have the whole pie to make it great.
Antron, how long did it take you to get to the finish line the same time as the car did? How many passes did you?
Hey, I can tell all y'all a funny story. This will get you light up. Like a lot of people don't know this. This is something I never told people. Okay, so I'm gonna share it today on Competition Plus TV. Is that the first time like I was able to take the car? Lee Beer told me, AB, to keep the green light yours, take it to the finish line. We're in Phoenix, Arizona, testing before we went to Pomona. And I can go 1,320 feet. He goes, if something don't feel right, just shut it off. We got more laps, no problem. So I already went to half track, and this time I'm going past half track. I said, I'm going to the goodie box. I'm taking this thing down the track. I ain't lifting till I see that light come on, that scoreboard comes on. I'm taking it. Brother, when I got to half track and I drove past half track, and that thing went 1-to-1. And that car literally stood up, like the middle of the car comes up and it like snaps you like that. It literally goes, pow, just like that. When that car did that and I felt it come off the ground and you feel it just starting to hover side to side. And I started seeing like the guardrail. Then I saw the center line. Then I saw the guardrail, and it literally felt like the car was coming off the ground. Okay. And I was like, man, this thing, I'm about to get out of control. I said, I can't drive this thing. So I shut off early at 1,000 foot, and the car still went a 4.48 seconds at 308 miles an hour. And I shut off and it snapped back. I came back. I was like, I had to go talk to Hot Rod Fuller. I said, Hot Rod, brother, what happens when that thing comes together like that? Literally, because I was at the end of the racetrack, I couldn't tell nobody, man. I had to go change my draws. My white Fruit of Looms had a little spot in them. It had a little yellow spot, a little brown spot, and I had to go change them things, man. And I came back, I was like, whoa. And Hot Rod goes, AB, man, that's what it does, especially at Phoenix, because it has a bump at the transition. Then the car hits the bump after it snaps, and then the car just starts sashaying. That's what it does. I was like, all right. Next time I was able to drive it all the way, and we went out there with like a 445 or 46 at 328. And I was puckered up the whole time. And all the guys were like, AB, what's that feel like? I said, I have no clue. I go, I didn't even know I went through the finish line. I said, all I was worried about was getting stopped. And Dan Olson goes, young man, you got to get them chutes out earlier. Because I went way past the turnoff, and I was out in the desert in Phoenix where they had to come get me and bring me back to the racetrack. And after that, it's like, then I knew how to start doing things quicker because I still wasn't caught up with the race car. And right then, I just knew I had to do everything early. I was literally hitting the parachutes at half track. By the time I hit them at half track, the car's going to the finish line and it opened up at the right time. And that was very important for me because Pomona, the first race of the year, is a racetrack with the shortest shutdown. And you had to be on time there or you're going in the sand trap. So that's when I started realizing that if you want to get things shut down at the finish line, you got to start shutting the car down at half track. When you go past half track, by the time you take your hand out and you hit the chutes and then you get your hand on the brake, you're through the finish line. And that's when I start understanding, and probably halfway through the first years where I really start feeling really comfortable where I was doing it without thinking. Once you get to about that 40 laps, 60 lap run time, you start getting comfortable with it and really doing it in your unconscious mind, if I say.
That is hilarious. I'm sorry, AB. I look up to you. You know, we talk every time I see you pretty much since I think it was 2008. We've pretty much seen each other almost every couple of years. But telling that story, that takes it to a whole new level right there. But speaking of this whole driving thing, you know, what do you think about the drag racers getting into the iRacing and the circle track world and going out and proving themselves on dirt? I know you did some of it during the, COVID break or whatever. So how do you feel about drivers going out and doing that?
Man, I've always been a huge fan of road racing, dirt track racing. And if you could drive on dirt, you could drive anywhere. You know what I mean? With rally cars, late models, all that stuff. And it's a lot of fun. I got to do some of the like the Gran Turismo deal with Toyota and drive like a Supra against all the Toyota drivers and made a bracket and made it down and was racing good. And it's a lot of fun. The one thing that I've learned from the stuff on the iRacing is as close as you can get to driving the real thing. But is it the same? It's close, but it's nowhere near close to being the same because drivers can feel what the car is really, it's hard to capture that. But iRacing does the best job of capturing anything. You know what I mean? And I love it. I mean, I haven't got into iRacing yet, but I want to get a setup to do it. Like all my kids got the PlayStation stuff with the seats and stuff like that. They drive all the other stuff. But I think that we need to do that on the drag racing side too and put the tunabilities and all that stuff in it to really take it to that next level for the drag racers and also for the sportsman racers to learn how to drive the big end sportsman racing, leave on time, leave off the top bub, wait and do everything right, how you drive when you're catching people. And I think that that was really, really cool, but all the people come together and they get a little more respect for the drag racers on what they can do. Like Caps does it all the time. Tommy DeLago gets on it and does it all the time. Cruz Pedregon gets on there. There's so many different people that do it, and they do it well. And Sean Langdon's into it. J.R. Todd's into it. And it's a lot of fun. But I'm one of them old school boys that I like to get real. Like I want to go out and do some midget racing, do some late model racing, go around the circle tracks. I did a deal at the Dirtfish School and went out there and did some rally stuff, with the two-wheel drive cars. We got to slide around. Me and Steve Torrance did it. That was a lot of fun. And I think we need to do some more cross collaborations like that. And I think that it'll be a lot of fun, especially to get some people. Nobody's never did it in a fuel car yet. I like to get somebody in one just to do a burnout and launch it and see what their eyes and see what they really think about it and catch their deal. I heard you talk about Tony Stewart, and I'm going to love it when he gets into it because he'll go through his bumps and bruises, but Tony's a really great driver in anything he gets in, and I think he's really going to take to it like a duck to water, but he will have his bumps and bruises because you got to leave on time and then you got to drive too. So it's a lot of stuff at stake with that.
Antron, you got to get the iRacing set up. I've got mine recently, and man, it's been a blast. Just finished a race last night from the rear to second at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Street Stalkers. People wrecking in front of me, driving through like Days of Thunder. Oh yeah, man, you got to get it. You got to get it.
And you know what the cool part is, Lee? Once you crash or wreck, you can walk away.
That's right.
That's the cool part about iRacing. You know what the cool part? You wreck a car, the wallet's still looking nice.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If iRacing starts making it where you gotta make donations to it when you crash a car, people like, ooh.
Let me give you my wish list. Can I give you a wish list of things I'd like to see? Give it. Stevie Jackson wants to get into Top Fuel. So I would like to see Stevie Fast Jackson.
Oh, yes. Yes.
He wants to get into Top Fuel. I'd like to see Tony Stewart, Stevie Fast, and Antron in a four-way, in a four-wide with, well, we got to put Doug Coletta in there just for voice of reason. You have one, 3 nuts and a voice of reason.
Hey,
but
let
can
me
you imagine?
I would love it. I would love it because you know why? Stevie Jackson, what I like about Stevie so much is that he is a true competitor and he talks with confidence. I ain't going to say he's conceited. No, that man talks with confidence, but he's going to go out there and back it up. And I've been waiting for somebody to come in because nobody wants to talk junk with me. Nobody talks junk with me. I tease them all the time. But like, nah, man, I'm good, man. I ain't going to talk nothing with you, AB. I want to have some fun, too. I want to be able to talk some. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey. I grew up like that all day long. Like, people talk junk, but you got to bring it. And I want to bring it. You know what I mean? So I love to see Stevie Jackson there. Tony will come out there. And you got people that talk this and that. And also, don't forget, you're talking about Coletta. What about the 3-time champ? What about Steve Torrance? That man ain't no joke. You know what I mean? I like to see a true all-star battle royal. I like to see somebody put up $1 million and you go out there and you get the 8 best of the best in each category, like Top Fuel and Funny Car, and then you race for $1 million per category, and winner takes all. We can even do handicaps for Funny Car and put them in another 2 lanes. I don't care. Like, we need to put it all together and see who the baddest team is out there. Because let me tell you something. These crew chiefs ain't going to go out there going, hey, man, we just need to go a 370 to get down a track. They're going to go out for the gauntlet and try to run 62s then and 63s and 64s. And people are going to test before they go to that race because they got that money up for grabs.
Sam, look, I get the Slammy tonight because he pretty much said my idea. That's my idea, Antron. $1 million, put 20 car Top Fuel together, go racing. $1 million, do it.
That's it.
Yeah,
Antron, this is what I said. 2 things here. I told Lee because we have this friendly competition going on. Slammy. I'm currently in the lead, so he's trying to gain one. It's So I told him, we need to have an all-star week. NHRA needs to have an all-star break, just like every other sport. And that's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said right there. Boom. I get the Slammy there. You may have came up with what we should do, but I said we need to have the all-star week. And also, speaking of trash talking, Antron, you probably don't remember it, but there is a video floating around by yours truly from you, not last year because we didn't have PRI, so 2019, and you guys are in the you guys are doing kind of the green light simulator, and you are trash talking someone there. I don't know if you remember.
That's my good friend Carlo Calinado. Carlo, me and him go back for like almost 15 years, and we are a beast on the tree against each other. Like, he is Like it'll be moments where he'll get me, and then it'll be moments where I will light him up and he'll light me up back and forth. And I could tell you this, we were in the DSR shop one day when I raced motorcycles. Okay. He came in there, we stayed on a tree for 2 hours betting. Okay. And we're betting $5 a time, and we're just going there, and the guys all around the shop would just stare us, just like at the PRI show probably. And he came there and gathered all around. And I tell you what, I don't know if PR show, were you there when he was getting me? Because he got me a few times. And then,
oh yeah.
Yeah, like he'll go back
there
for when he got me like 4 or 5 times in a row. And then I went
I'll
back.
send you the video.
Yeah. And
I'll send you the video tomorrow.
And then when he gets up, he wants to quit. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm out. And then we let him do that. But what you didn't see when you did that video was the day before when I wore him out 30 times straight in a row. So, and the other deal is, do you ever remember at the PR show when they gave out a weather station for the ultimate reaction time? Right? It was over at one of the weather station booths over in the deal. For everybody in the show, you get 3 tries to win this weather station for everybody in this deal, right? Well, Carlo won that thing. He was winning it, right? Where it's an ultimate reaction where it's like how quick you can hit it. Like if you get in the 140s, you're blazing fast. Okay? That's ultimate reaction when you see the light. Like you go, bow, right? Human reaction time. Carlo went out there. That joker had a 141. And it was a list of like over 1,000 people on that dude that went through this deal, right? It was like for a $700 weather station. So he came over and got me. Like always, he goes, "AB, come with me. I want to see what you got." I'm like, "What you talking about, man?" This is when I was racing motorcycles. So I remember like yesterday. So Cam got me. I went over there. I had 3 shots. My first time I went, I was like a 143. He looked at me, and you got to remember, he's from Louisiana. He's one of those guys that got a small tire Mustang that runs real fast, like the Street Outlaw kind of stuff, right? So he starts talking all this junk. Then my next time I popped it, I was a 138. Hear a pin drop in the room. Then my third time I popped it, I was a 134. Guess who won the weather station for the whole weekend?
You can't win it. That's not fair.
But you know what I did? Hey, you know what? There was other professional drivers that came over and did that deal too, and sportsman racers. You know what I mean? The funny part is I won it, and Carlo was the second one, so I ended up giving him the weather station. I said, "Here you go, man." So he got the weather station. But because he's the one that brought me over, he goes, "I ain't never bring you over nothing like that again." But I tell you what, the only person that has ever got the best of me like that, like back and forth, is probably Carlo. And that's how good that man is. He's actually really, really good.
I think Angel, but got you too.
What's that?
Angel?
No. You got that all day long, bro. That's like Angel's good, brother. But when it comes to light cutting, I don't give nobody nothing. I mean,
all right.
No.
Hey, I'm not good, but I know you like peanut butter cookies. So maybe you and I at some race can bet, a plate of 6 peanut butter cookies, and we'll be good.
They gotta be hot, brother. They gotta be hot. I might let you get a couple. Like if we got the best out of 10, I might let you get 2 out of 10, man. Give me a couple peanut butter cookies.
Well, Antron, look, fellow top field drag racer and man from New Jersey, Joe Morrison chimes in and says, "Look, he's more than willing to talk some junk with you. So you got someone out there. You and Joe strike it up,
man. You gotta tell Joe he gotta he gotta come out there and make it happen first before you can talk junk, man. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, I say, look, don't talk junk until you're right. Okay, you gotta get right to talk junk. I love Joe because he's from New Jersey, but he can't come talk junk yet. You gotta pay your dues first, Joe. You gotta pay your dues, brother. You know what I mean? I didn't come out as a rookie talking junk. Remember I came out as a rookie? I was silent and deadly. I just went out there. You let the racing do your talking. You know what I mean? But now somebody talk junk, I'm going to defend myself and talk some back. But I'm only going to say what I can do. Right?
There you go. There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Joe ain't ready for that yet.
Joe ain't ready for that.
He'll get there, but he ain't ready for that yet.
Yep.
Joe ain't ready for that yet.
Look, Roger, I've got to ask. You get a lot of great photos, but you definitely are able to snap those backup girls. Who is your favorite backup girl out there in the world of drag racing?
That's kind of on the dumb side of a question. That'd be Lisa Dill. Lisa Dill.
There you go. I think she is one of
Hands
the classiest
down.
ones out there, period. She does a great job at it.
She is. Oh, I'm posting a bunch of pictures during this extended downtime, and a lot of them are the backup girls. And I made a statement on one of the pictures that there are a lot of stunning women out there doing the backup. And you can't get any better with more class than Lisa. Now, there are several girls that are very, very close, but no one has surpassed her in just style and grace.
Who is the best backup girl of all time?
Well, I know her too, and I've got pictures of me with her.
Who?
Pam Hardy. Jungle Pam.
Jungle Pam, baby. Jungle Pam. Boy, let me tell you something. If I went back in the 70s, I'll be swinging off vines like Tarzan. I remember as a kid, my dad and uncle and every man was up there. They're like, here comes Jungle Jim. They weren't worried about Jim. They was worried about looking at Jungle Pam. I remember it like yesterday.
That's one of my
Jungle Jim. There's like, did you see Jungle Pam? I didn't know that. I was like 8 years old looking at that stuff, man. No 8-year-old cold cared about that. I was caring about bomb pops and playing with my Tonka trucks.
That's my biggest regret in drag racing. I didn't get started in photography until late in my life, and she didn't exist in my world until now. But I have met her and talked with her and really consider her a friend.
All you gotta go do is look at the archives.
Speaking of archives, on the Competition Plus Facebook page, I put up an album of 550 or so backup girls from this year. So if you want to look at some backup girls, go to the Competition Plus Facebook page, and I've got an album on there. 500 something pictures.
Hey,
backup girls.
I am telling you guys right now, the backup girls, people use them the wrong way. And let me explain why. Okay. The backup girl is backing your car up. So you got to look at her. And most of the time, it's your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance. Okay. So you're basically showing her off to the world, to the public, right? Well, why don't you have your backup girl not in front of your car, but going down the center line so the driver in the other lane can get a glimpse of her?
Psychological warfare right there. Psychological warfare.
And if you do that, then people be backing the car up all crooked. They're like, we couldn't even back it up right. They'll be all over the place. You know what I mean? They get up in the line, they ain't even thinking about what they're doing right. Okay? That's how you use a backup girl. You following what I'm saying? That's all I got to say. Okay?
I think it's a good plan. I think it's a good plan.
That's what I'll do.
Yeah, do it.
Lessons from AB.
Lessons from AB. Yeah, use your backup girls wisely.
Mind games, man. If you're going to use it, do it right.
Do it right. I like that. So, Antron, you mentioned, the 70s and drag racing back then. Look, you work with someone who's been flying under the radar for a while now because he got out of the driving game, but he's still been there. And I was a fan of his. I was pulling for him on a Diamond P VHS and didn't know that, after watching it the third time, Bernstein was still going to win. but you work with Mark Oswald. What is that like, working with a legend in drag racing?
Brother, let me tell you something. That's the Iceman. Okay, let's get it right. That's the Iceman, because nothing gets the Mark, man. And Mark's an incredible individual. He's one of the best people I have ever worked with, and very talented. And the thing about what Mark brings to the table is that he can get anything done. He can make anything. He's an inventor, and he works on it hard. And it's just one of those types of things where when you got a man like that in your corner, it's just like it gives you confidence, brother. It gives you confidence. And when we go from race to race, always coming up with new ideas. Like, you know, him and karate together, brother, it's like it's a whole nother level, because Brian can think of this, and then Mark goes, well, I can make that happen. Then Mark can say this, and then Brian goes, what about this? Let's do this. And they're like, all right. And Mark, what people don't realize about Mark is Mark, besides having his own CNC shop, making header gaskets and making little trinkets and little inventive things that we work on our car, like our lubers that go into our blowers, he makes so much stuff, like the 4-bolt main. He came up with that idea for the top fuel blocks. You know what I mean? He had that idea for years, and then it got incorporated. AJ was the first one to come out with it. But all these conversations, like, people don't realize where they originated from. And Mark never gets the credit, because Mark don't care about the credit. He just wants to move forward. He's one of those types of guys. Always in the trenches working, and don't care about who gets the credit, but just trying to move the sport forward. And that's what I love about the guy so much. And then when it comes to driving, people don't realize he's not a legend yet. That's going to get in a car tomorrow and drive it. He can get in my car and test it. He's tested my car before. He's got a nostalgia funny car at the Night Under Fire, put him in a suit, got in it, boom, right down the racetrack. Think about when Mike Ashley, when Melanie Troxel and all those, when they had the 2-car funny car team. Mike didn't drive. Who jumped in the funny car? Number 1 qualifier, winning rounds and winning races. Mark Oswald. I mean, Mark is just one of those guys that is like, you know, it blows my mind beyond belief of what that man can do and what he stands for. I mean, he executes excellence at a high degree, and he brings all that to the table. And I told him, man, I said, we'll be partners, and he'll be a part of my race team as long as he wants to, until I walk away. You know what I mean? He's a lifer, and you know, people don't realize, like, Mark, he's like, I don't know how, like, Mark is close to being like he's like 68, but that man is like in shape of like a good 50-year-old guy. You know what I mean? He can outwork, push-ups, do everything else, and he will work his tail off. And incredible individual, and not just a legend of the sport. He's one of the heads that you see on Mount Rushmore, like one of those silent people that never get all the credit that's truly due to him. And an engine builder, beyond belief. Beyond belief. Can look at it. He can still look at a fuel motor and tell you what to do to it. Not even look at the computer, but just looking at the parts from the race engine.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember when Mike, you know, connecting with Justin Ashley and all of them, and I'm like, you know, Mike mentioned Mark. I said, you mean the Mark Oswald? He's like, yeah, he's still out here. I'm like, what? Because he's been able to, like, fly under the radar, like, as you just described. He's been getting it done and doing so much, and hopefully one day, you know, he really gets some due, I hope, and when he's inducted into some type of Hall of Fame or something somewhere, and he probably already is for all we know. And
he's in a few of them already, especially down in Bristol, but in the Drag Racing Hall of Fame too. But he just needs to be in the Motorsports Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? I mean, the man has won championships in IHRA and NHRA, won numerous races, built things, innovator, chassis builder, innovations. I mean, from engine stuff to everywhere. And but he's not one to do this. You know what I mean? He's just like, that's done. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. He's always looking, and has never slowed down to really look at the things he's done. You know what I mean? Which is just simply amazing. Simply amazing.
Roger, there with your great photos, Destroyo1320 said he was going to have to take a break from watching this to go look at all the hot backup girls that you posted all the pictures of. But Antron, I got to ask, as you know, I am a former collegiate track athlete, just like yourself. We've talked about this in the past, but what is it like for you waking up and you talk about this workout routine? What is it like to stay in shape to drive one of these cars? I mean, you have to be in great physical shape and mental shape. So kind of walk us through what you guys go through on the off season to mentally prepare and physically prepare.
I was working out today, like, in one of my training classes over at VFit, and then I do some stuff at home too. But now it's time for me to really hit it hard. I literally took a few weeks, like about 3 weeks off for Christmas and New Year's, just enjoyed myself. And today hurt me hard. But this is the deal. You don't have to. There are some people that don't do anything and they're good, but it depends on where you want to be at. Do you want to go out and win a race or win some rounds, or do you want to win championships? You know what I mean? A lot of people want things, but the difference of is what are you willing to do to put yourself into position that you can go out and do things to be elite. You know what I mean? So for me, I get confidence and I feel better when I'm in shape and I'm at the top of my game. You know what I mean? That's what really makes me feel better, where I can go out there, because the racing doesn't wear you down. What wears you down, what a lot of people don't realize, is the traveling, hopping off of airplanes, getting off, getting jet lagged, then getting to the track, doing sponsor obligations where you're ripping and running, and you might not get in the hotel room till 10 o'clock at night, but then you're getting up at, you got to get up and leave the hotel by 7 a.m. to get to the racetrack. Then when you got to the racetrack, your first round might not be till 1 o'clock, and your next one's at 4:30 or 5, and then you're not leaving the racetrack till 8 o'clock at night. Then by the time you eat, then get in bed again, you're in bed at 11 o'clock at night. You follow what I mean? So those are things that wear you down. But if you are in shape, you know what I mean, and you can maintain and have that endurance and know how to condition yourself, you can bring that A+ level game each weekend when you're racing. Because this is the thing, a fuel car, like a funny car, a top fuel car, is not going to run perfect every time, because you got like a million things that can go wrong, and you only have a few things that can go right every run. So if your car is, let's say if you have an 80% car, which is a great race car, that means it goes out of track 80% of the time without mishaps. That means you have a championship car, plain and simple. But then if you have a driver that shows up and that's 50%, so let's say you can win 80% of your rounds, right? Well, now you cut that in half because your driver's 50%, you're only going to win 40% of those rounds. You get what I mean? So if you show up and you could do your job, and you could be at a 95 to a 98% level where you could stay between that 40 and 60 light every round, and then you can keep the car straight, your mind's right, and you limit those mistakes. Well, now you're going to squeeze everything you can get out that race car, because you're going to win those close rounds. And when you win those close rounds, that's what turns into race wins. And then those race wins turn into championships. And that's the difference. And that's the way I look at it. And that's the way I've always looked at it, is a number game. And if you want to be good, I'm not one of those persons that talk about it. I'm about it. And I work hard, whether it's like, doing a lot of interval training, circuit training, and endurance training, where I get my heart rate up really, really high, and then I'll have like 30 seconds rest, and I go hard at it again. Then I might have a 60-minute rest and 60-second rest, then I go hard at it again to get it up and down. And then I play in basketball leagues in the off season, which really gets my heart rate going, where I'm running a lot. So that's what I try to do. That's my thing that I've always done. And when I've been racing since Pro Stock Bike to this day, I just train and try to keep myself right, keep myself fit. And I try to eat the right things 70% of the time. 30% of the time, I might sneak off and have a goodie here or two, because, I like ice cream. I like cookies. You know what I mean? So I work hard so I can have a little treat every once in a while. You know what I mean? But besides that, I'm like this: no pop, no soda, just like water and maybe some juices every once in a while. You know what I mean? But that's about it.
Butter pecan. Butter pecan.
Yeah.
What's that?
I watched my wife on the treadmill today. Does that count as workout?
So she gonna work out for you, Roger? Is she gonna work out for you?
Yeah. Well, I watched her for several minutes.
You got tired too, didn't you? Look at it.
Man.
Look at him. See, I can mess with Roger like that, man. We got that type of relationship. I tease him all the time.
Roger, look, we got to get to a point where we begin to wind down the show. We do want to ask before we wrap it up, man, look, is there one photo or a couple of photos that rank at the highest on the list that you've been able to take of a particular situation or time? What's a photo? Describe it for us that you took that you love the most.
When you take as many as 5,000 images a week, it's hard to narrow it down. But a couple of people are my favorite ones. I've got a image of Bob Glidden, Don Garlitz, and Antron. Those are my. But no, it's mostly pictures of the people that I've met during my years of doing this. I've got a lot of car pictures and everything, but those are kind of redundant. I mean, there's only so many angles you can take, and thankfully, I haven't had too many crash pictures where it was bad. But it's mostly the people pictures that I take that I really like. And my favorite picture, I guess, that I took of all time, as far as a person, is like a 5-year-old kid watching a top fueler go down the track, hanging over the fence in Charlotte, and the thrill, the ecstasy that was on that little kid's face was just phenomenal.
Love photos, love pictures and videos of those like first time Nitro people. Just love it. They're spectacular.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. That's like I said earlier, it's a heck of a way to spend retirement. So one day when y'all get off the white face and everything, go ahead.
No, I was saying someday when, we can say we're retired from doing this, we'll still be doing this just like you.
Yeah, I'll still be out there. When you retired, I'll be out there on the side of the track. I hope. It's getting closer though. I'm 71. I'm 71 right now, so it's getting closer.
Well, I'm sure you've got, many more travels ahead of you, Roger, and you keep plowing your craft and doing it. I mean, you're at the top of the game and doing a fine job. And thank you for all that you have provided, especially the pictures of all the backup girls. Thank you, sir.
I'll keep trying for my best in that area.
We just need them all line up. Just line up before the race, and Roger can get the photos, and we can have them for prosperity for sure.
We do that a lot at the Southeast Gassers. They have that's one of their big things is they all have a backup girl, and we'll get sometimes 20 or so in a group picture. It's really nice. That's what you need to get into, Antron. Get yourself a gasser and 4-speed.
That would be fun. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that.
He's got to wait to get rid of all the juniors before he can get one of those.
Roger, I got like junior heaven out here, brother. I got so many junior dragsters. And Sam, you're right, brother. I mean, we got so many junior dragsters in my garage. I'm working on every evening. I go out in my garage and work on Adler, my son Adler. He's got a new one that we're putting together, a little half scale one. It's going to be a Matco car this year. So he's very excited about it, man. I got like 5 of them out there. I've been getting rid of them, man. I'm going to get rid of 2 more at the end of this year because my older son, Anson, he's 16. He's only got 2 more years left. And he's going to go big car racing. He wants to go big car racing, but I don't know. He's got to go to college first. And so it's a lot of stuff up in the air, but I still got a lot of them. Stacker trailer. I got my little truck coach. And we have fun with it, man. Them kids are very, very impressive what they do out there on the racetrack. We have a lot of kids that's coming up through junior dragsters that's going to make a heck of a sportsman racers and heck of professional racers coming up. Like, we're all in trouble. And I told him, I said, the kid said, well, I want to race you. I said, man, by the time you get up there, I'm going to be retired by then. So you can't whip my butt. I'm going to let y'all have it.
Well, you're definitely already seeing that crop come in. I mean, look what almost an apprentice Justin Ashley's already been able to do in one season. His driving capabilities, it's amazing what a young man such as himself is able to do in front of that nitromethane burning engine.
Well, you know that y'all speaking about Justin, this is the coolest thing that a lot of people don't realize. Justin, he never raced a junior dragster. You know what I mean? I don't think he ever raced a junior dragster. He just was wild his dad all the time. He went to college, got his degree, came out, and he always had a love for racing. Like, you got to remember, Mike Ashley used to own my race team for a whole year. And when I'm telling you, the most optimistic, the most positive person that I have ever been around is Mike Ashley. Okay? He will get the most out of anybody I ever worked for him because he's nothing but positive. Never negative that has ever come out that man's mouth. And he will try, if he has a person that's broken, he will fix them. Like, he is the fixer of all things, but the most positive person I've ever been around. Like, that year was like my sophomore year was our breakout year. That's when Brian Karate, Mark Oswald, and our team all came together. And that year we won 6 races. But that was the first year, like, we had the countdown, and we messed up in the countdown. Like, one race in the countdown, we had an input shaft that broke, and we lost the championship to Tony by 20. But if we ran a normal season, we won a championship by almost 300 points. That's how far ahead we were in second place. If we ran like a normal championship point spread, and it was like 280 points or something, we would have won the championship by, and we lost it by 30 points. Kicks us in the butt, right? So, but Mike was there, and Justin came through all that. And the difference with Justin is that this young man is so focused. Like, it's ridiculous. I remember he got in our car, he got in our race car, and he got his license in Norwalk, Ohio. And I'm not lying to you. This kid was up there, and he was so focused on what he was doing. And when he got into the race car, he caught on so fast. Like, things just didn't snap because you race the top fuel car. It's a different animal, okay? So was he nervous? Absolutely. I was nervous. So he got in there, but the coolest part was he took his time. He didn't rush things to make big mistakes. He took his time. When he's about to make a mistake, he slowed down. And I'm looking at him from afar. I'm like, this cat is like, you see him about to mess up, then he slowed down and collect himself. Then he got back in, very methodical, the way his mind works and the way he does things. Then he stepped on the gas, and he's never been in the fuel car, and this cat's cutting 50 lights. 40s and 50s like it's going out of style. He's stepping on the gas for the first time of a car that has 11,000 horsepower, and he's going to go from 0 to 100 mile an hour in 0.8 of a second. And he's like cutting it. Did it go crooked a little bit? Yeah, it got crooked. Got out of the groove a little bit. Then he brought it back and shut off. But then that day we got him his license. He got his license. And then he comes out first race in the top fuel car, and he's out there crushing people, killing them on hole shots. And the reason why people goes, is he really like that? You know why? because he wasn't thinking about what he had to do. He was just doing it. And when you just go out there and do it without thinking, that's when you do things flawlessly. And is he growing? Absolutely, he's growing. He's growing to learn how to pedal a car. When people throw little cogs, that's when you learn. When you mess up, that's when you learn the most. If you don't mess up, you're going to keep on doing the things that you do the same, and you won't have much growth. But when you mess up is when you do your most learning and when you do your most growing. And Justin's not afraid of that. And he's open to himself. He's a hard critic on himself. And when he has a question, he ain't scared to ask about it. He go, AB, what you think about this? I'm like, yeah, well, this is what I would do. And he takes it, but he adapts it to his own style and does what he does. He's not trying to be like me. He's not trying to be like a Tony Schumacher. He's trying to be the best version of himself. And that's what makes that kid so good. And I love racing because he'll bring the best out of you, because you got to be on your game. You got to be on your game, leave on time. And they got a good team. And they got Mike Green over there this year. That team is going to be – Aren Brooks did a phenomenal job. And now you got Mike Green, who's won championships. That's going to polish it and make it his. And, I mean, look what he did with Tony when he came back this year. They came back, ran 66, and beat Steve-O in the final and dropped low ET on everybody. So, I mean, they're going to have a great program. You know what I mean? He's definitely one to watch. And he's a remarkable young man. And if I had a team and I was looking for a driver, I'll be all over Justin Ashley.
Awesome to hear. And you got a question coming in from one fan as we're trying to wrap it up, but I think this is a great question, and then I have one for you. But it says, what is your formula to success? And I think that's a question that both of you guys, if you guys want to take the time there to answer that, and then, and then like I said, then I have one more question for you. But what would you say, Roger, is your formula to your success?
Love what you're doing and study hard to do it.
That's awesome. And you, AB?
Mine is simple. Mine is you gotta be, only thing that beats resistance is persistence. And I tell this to a lot of young adults growing up. I tell a lot of people that in my motivational speaking is that hard work is not something, is that everybody has to do it. But the difference of it is that you have to learn from your mistakes, not to make the same mistake twice, to grow, to go forward. And that's when you got to be persistent about it, to stay after it. Because a lot of us settle in life and we get comfortable, and we're happy being comfortable, but we're not achieving what we're capable of doing. And that is the true nature that we all get into. We get in places, oh man, I'm comfortable, man. I can pay the bills, I'm happy. But is that truly where you want to be at? And why are you stopping there? Evolve your dreams. When you get to one set in your mind where you made something, why are you selling there? Well, I made it to pro stock motorcycle. I became a professional pro stock bike racer. I was like, man, I was happy. I was like, I made it. This is what I always wanted to do. And then once I got there and I was racing for years and years, I was like, why am I settling here when I can be here and race a fuel car? Was it hard? Yes. Did it happen overnight? No. It took over 5 years of me getting there for somebody to even look at me to give me a shot, like David Powers, Tim Buckley, and Matco Tools, who's been with me for years to help me get to where I'm at. I even have people say, hey, man, I wouldn't get too excited. There's people that will pay over $500,000 to drive a car. And what else you going to bring to the table? And I've never drove a fuel car. He said, you don't even know if you can even drive one. There was people telling me all this negative jive and negative stuff because at the end of the day, they're just trying to be real because they're like, there ain't no real Cinderella stories. But you know what? If you stay after it and put yourself out and around it, that opportunity will come. But when it comes, you got to be ready to grab it and take a hold of it. And I was there, and I took a hold of that bad boy. I wouldn't let it go. I had a chokehold on it. So that's my thing. Just be persistent to beat the resistance and stay after it and keep evolving your dream to get there and get past it, because your true potential is always being unlocked. And you just got to keep letting that happen. Big, dream big.
Man, we should have charged tickets for this show with that kind of word, I tell you.
Oh yeah. But AB, I've heard you say this before, and I heard it when the last time I was in Vegas. You always tell other drivers, be safe and be fast. Those words right there, be safe and be fast, that's powerful. When you're telling another driver, be safe and be fast, like that exchange, what does that mean to you?
What that means for me, let me start with it. Before I get in the car, I don't have a ritual, but the only ritual I do is that I say a prayer. And I never say a prayer for favor. I say a prayer for everybody's safety, because we're going to have fun and we're blessed to do what we do. Okay? We're very blessed to do what we do. But what a lot of people, when I tell them to be safe, because I want them to be safe. I want them to be safe, do the right thing down the racetrack, because we're going to have fun regardless, right? And when I say be fast, what I mean about be fast is that I want their best. I want their all, because I want to give it my all. You follow what I mean? And that's why I always tell drivers to be fast, is that now I'm not cheering for them to beat me. I just want them to be fast, and I want their best. And that's the simplest way that I can put it. I said, hey, brother, I said, be safe. I'm going to say a prayer for us to be safe, because we're like driving rocket ships, unguided missiles, and things can go wrong in a hurry. And I've been in some severe accidents, and I don't wish that upon anybody, not even my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish that upon them. And I want to be safe, and I want them to be fast. And if they are, and we have a great race, we put on a great show for the fans. But if I win, I beat them at their best. And that's how I want to win. I want to beat people at their best. So I want them to be fast. That was a good question. Never heard anybody. I never even knew that. I even said that to people, but that's what I say to them all the time.
Oh yeah, I've heard it, a few times from you, and I just, one of those questions that it brings, when you hear it, it means something. So I just wanted to know, what it meant, and I felt like that was a great question to, in the powerful, after everything else that you said tonight. So.
Well, the funniest part is that makes you laugh is that you'll say some drivers, they'll be like this, have a safe race. They ain't gonna say have a good race. They don't want to have a good race. They don't want nobody, they don't want to give you nothing. And I kind of laugh about that sometimes. I'm like, man, and then you get them other drivers that go, hey man, take it a little easy on me. I said, what? Take it easy on you? I said, brother's got to eat. I got 3 miles at home that's got to eat. You know what I mean? Have you seen my son Anson? That joker is 6 foot at 16 years old.
Oh yeah.
16, 240, 6 foot at 16. Brother gotta get some groceries. So when I look at them, they try to take my grocery money, brother. I'm chopping them down. Yep. You know what I mean? I want them to be their best, but I want to give it my all. I don't care who you are. Shoot. Don Perdone could come back, one of the GOATs, and I'm going to chop him down. I'm going to chop him out and shave the fur off of him. He's going to be a furless goat.
Hey, there we go. With the way he's talking right there, Lee, I think we should sign him up and get him in a pro mod down there at the Door Slammers. I think, seeing him and seeing him and Stevie Fast,
Well, I love to get a pro mod. I love to get a pro mod. You know what I mean? I mean, actually, I haven't talked about it numerous times. Like, if I ever got to the point where I get one funded and have a good team, because I'm one type of driver. I'm not going out there to be out there. Okay, I'm not going to drive a pro mod and say I drive a pro mod. I want a car that can win a race. You get what I mean? I just want to be on the same level with the same equipment that we could bring an A+ game, and I want to get my practice in, so I become one with the car. And I gotta have a great team. And then I'll come out and I'll play all day. And I love pro mod. I watch them all the time. I'm a true fan of pro mod race.
Pro mod or Radio versus the World?
Brother, they're all awesome. Any of them. Let me tell you something. It ain't nothing that I will not race. Do you know that? I grew up racing motocross. I grew up racing dirt bikes. I used to jump triples, big jumps. And I went from that to street bike racing, that to pro stock motorcycle racing. And I just skipped a whole bunch of cars and went straight to fuel racing. And I drive anything, brother. I drive semis, got my CDL license. It ain't pretty much done I can drive. My family had a septic tank excavating business. I drove backhoes, dump trucks, septic tank trucks, pumped out people's stuff. Man, what you want, man? I can go from rotor-rooter to a skid steer to a forklift to a semi to a top fuel car. Shoot, man. I even drove the F-16 airplane before already.
Antron's got it all covered.
I ain't got it all covered. I'm trying to. There's some more left out there, like a pro mod. What? I told Steve,
we can make it happen.
Stevie's got to teach me to drive his car, and I'll teach him how to drive my car. He'd be a hell of a teammate too, old Stevie boy. Woo!
Look, when y'all come to town to Charlotte, we'll get you connected with Randy Pettit, the announcer over here at Bowman Gray, and get you in a modified over at Bowman Gray. We'll have to work that out for you, Antron.
What you got? Is it a dirt track?
Oh, it's so Bowman Gray is one of the most historic NASCAR tracks in the nation. It is a small quarter-mile track. It's less than a quarter mile. It actually is around a football field.
Bro, I'm in. I'm in, brother. You have no idea. People never saw me on the go-kart track or go on circle track racing, brother. I ain't scared. I'll drive, Daddy-O. I drive. I ain't gonna tell you no stories. I'm just gonna drive and let you see for yourself.
There you go. We can add that to the list, Lee. Add that one for the 2021.
I'm in. You got my number.
There you go.
You got my number. Don't talk about it. Let's be about it, right?
About it. All right. There we go.
Right, Roger?
Peanut butter.
Come on, Raj. Talk to me.
Roger might have froze. I don't mean like literally, but online. Oh, there he is.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
All right. We can get Roger in a scooter race on his scooter. He's got all going around the track. We can get that worked out. We need to do it.
He can race you in the unicycle or whatever that was.
Yeah.
There you go. Boom.
There we go.
We'll take pictures. All right, AB. Hey, before we cut you loose, there's one more thing that I need you to do for me. Can I get the peanut butter? You gotta do it one time for the fans.
I'll give it one time. Peanut butter.
That's it, man. Hey, thanks for coming on to the Competition Plus Power Hour. It's been a blast. Obviously, we got to get you in a pro mod. Till next time, we will holler at you guys. Roger, thanks for all the great photos. It's been a pleasure, you guys.
Thank you. Y'all take care.
Thanks for being on. I appreciate you, Sam, Lee. You guys are phenomenal. And Roger, my brother.
See you guys.
Take care.
Well,
awesome
Sam,
having them on.
Another great show here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. But yeah, we are done. I think we've been running at Columbus, Ohio, and we've gone over the pit, and we're in the farmer's front yard on this one. So we got to shut it down.
Hey, the brakes are glowing. We pulled the chutes way too late. Like you said, I mean, we're rolled over, and I'm waiting for the safety crew to come over in that wingless car that I'm going to be upside down in that you guys mentioned earlier. But Lee, it's been fun. Right. Lee, hey, in between the slicks, your show, give us some info on that.
Look, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Between the Slicks, as I say, the most diverse drag racing talk show out there. I've got the Dunn girl on. Yeah, the granddaughter that's on the pit crew and that's a nurse. I'm going to have her on as a guest, and a young African-American who is doing the YouTube thing out of Southern California, Darren Williams Jr., the newest and one of the few NHRA YouTubers out there. Hey, he's actually got a few Antron videos on American Hot Rod Entertainment. They will be on Between the Slicks to talk about drag racing. Look, man, let's close it out. Shut it down.
Hey, everybody. Like I said, again, that is Lee, the Monday Morning Racer. I'm Slammin' Sam, Mad Bro Motorsports, and Outlaw Performance ENT. Both of those you can find me on YouTube. And I host a podcast called In the Groove Podcast. If you want to talk anything IMCA racing or drag racing, come over and tune into that on all your major platforms. If you have not done already, please go over to Competition Plus and check out everything they've got there. Competition Plus is on all of your major podcast platforms under the Power Hour. So check us out there. If you got any emails for Mr. Aren, you can email us at powerhourcp@gmail.com. But this has been the 10th episode, a great episode with AB. And we've got Roger, and we've got Lee and myself. But you guys, till next week with maybe Cruz Petragon and Amanda. Stay tuned for more information on that. And we will see you smashing that loud pedal wide open next Tuesday night. Have a great night, everybody.